Yeah, get it on. Got to get on a choice, but get on mandate. Get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. Marc Price, actor, comedian, is in studio. Marc is a stand-up. Marc is an actor, and Marc is probably known to you as Skippy, Erwin Skippy Handelman from Family Ties all those years ago, 1982 through 1989. Good to see you, Marc.
Do you remember meeting at the Laugh Factory? You don't even remember.
I remember the first time I saw you in person. I was doing, trying to do stand-up, like open mic or something like that, at what I recall is an improv on an open mic night on a Sunday night, and you were on stage. You were on a hit sitcom, and maybe you had slid in and went between a couple of open micers or something, but I remember sitting in the back of the club or standing in the back of the club going, man, this guy's got the world by the tail, man. He is on a top 5 sitcom. He's doing stand-up. He's young and he's good looking.
I meet a lot of people that back in the day, they wanted to be like me.
Yes, I was one of those people. And
Justin Timberlake comes to mind.
Does he?
I did a show. I hosted a show for Disney Channel, and they were doing the Mickey Mouse Club. And
what year is this?
I don't know. He's 15. I'm 19. You know, and so I don't have a guardian. He's got his parents there and everything. I've got like writers. He thought I was the cool. There was a time when Justin Timberlake thought I was really cool.
There was a time when Beyonce ran up to me at the Teen Choice Awards and was like, oh, I'm such a fan of Loveline, and I could sing for you right now, and started singing a cappella and then ended up coming on Loveline. Yeah, those are started. Now, you only remember those who we had those encounters with who then soared to meteoric heights. But we don't really remember the dozens and dozens of others that have fallen beneath us, yes. which is more gratifying and less painful.
Indeed. Some of the people that opened for me, Kevin James.
Really?
Yeah. Geez. A lot of big people. I'm forgetting all the names.
Did, yeah, I mean, it's always weird, man. I mean, there really should be a podcast just dedicated to, like, I remember I was at the Improv in Miami or something 14 years ago or something, and I was like, there's this CD left behind for some kid named Kevin Hart, and I was like, this guy's not going to amount to anything. Yeah, you never know. It's like a celebrity's like a stock that you can't pick.
I had an interesting story because I was on the show and it was a hit, and I was 14, 15 years old, and I was hanging out at the comedy clubs. And so all the guys that went on to become huge, everybody that got a sitcom, Paul Reiser, Drew Carey, Tim Allen, they even Jay Leno and Jerry Seinfeld, who were the biggest comedians in the country at the time, they didn't have TV shows. He wasn't the host of The Tonight Show.
Right.
Seinfeld didn't have a series. They wanted to know me. They wanted a hit show. They wanted to see what it was like. So they would gravitate towards me at the clubs.
Well, back then, I don't think it's as much today, but the goal was to get a sitcom. That was the goal of every stand-up.
And I did it backwards. I had a sitcom, and my goal was to play ha-has and hee-hees and giggles and whatever.
Right. And everybody, now, I don't think Bill Burr wants he doesn't want a sitcom, and Louis C.K. doesn't probably want one anymore. Like, the optics have changed, but back in the 80s, it was like a gold rush of who's going to be the next comedian that breaks. And when you break with the sitcom, then it's you're instantly recognizable because there's so few networks out there and there's such little product and sitcoms and stuff. And then the other part is it's gold. I mean, Roseanne was in here the other day saying she's basically getting $1 million an episode in the 80s. Yeah.
It's a rich history. Goes back to the beginning of TV. Comedians have always nailed it on TV.
But it's a bygone era because it's just, I don't think that exists anymore, with rare exceptions.
Do you think Kevin James won, by the way? Is he the guy that made the most money as a comedian starring in a sitcom? That's it? Nobody will ever make that much again? Who did better than him?
I don't know who the leaders in it's a little schwitzy in here. Well, we'll get you a paper towel if you want to dab your head.
Sure, it's fine.
Yeah, Kevin James just became a meme again.
He did?
Yeah, from just a King of Queens promo pic. It's all over the internet.
Oh, it's
really?
It's him, like with a little kind of a sly face on it.
Yeah, everybody's been using it the last couple days.
It was the anniversary of the show. I think that's what started it. Yeah.
I don't know how to use a meme, or if I do, I don't know how to use one properly. But either way, there's a napkin
Very
if you want to blot your forehead. So it's different. And maybe rightfully so, and then maybe things are cyclical and all that. But how the hell where do you come from? How do you get out here, and how do you get on a big sitcom when you're 13 or 14 years old?
It's a good story, Adam. It's a good story. My dad was a comedian, and he was on the Ed Sullivan Show many times. He was considered a pioneer in the business, made early movies, early talkies. I mean, he was on the radio with Fred Allen in 1940.
What was his name?
Al Burney. So most of the internet generation, doesn't recall him. But if anybody's got their grandfather around still, they might remember because he was really popular. And he brought me into showbiz I was born in 68. So I remember he brought me on stage when I was a baby. But in the 70s, I remember hanging out with him in the Catskill Mountains. So he had done a lot before that. But the Catskills was his area in the 70s. And so I'd see Joey Bishop and Jackie Mason and all the great old-time comedians, Milton Berle. I'd hang out backstage, bring Milton his tea, pitch jokes to him. And then he would take me to see the kids at the time, which was Robert Klein, David Brenner.
Right. Young comedians
and
at the time.
He foresaw comedy changing. He's seen it change so much throughout the years. And he called comedy clubs just as they began. Maybe it was obvious they were so popular in New York and stuff, but he knew they'd be all over the country before they were. And so he took me into the Improv and Catch a Rising Star and all that. And I'd get in because it was pre 9/11. It was a different world, right? A little kid could sneak in with somebody back then, especially if the guy sneaking in the kid was a comedian and all the comics worked the door and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're a kid, you could go anywhere. If you're black, maybe not. But if you're a kid, right through the front door. I mean, if you're a kid, you can go to the corner and buy your mom cigarettes.
Oh, I used to bring him his martini very dry, in and out with the vermouth.
Was that his thing?
That was
he had a martini.
He go order it and bring it to him.
Yeah. All right. So I would call it a sort of simpler time.
Absolutely.
Rather than the just malaise of red tape and rules and, everything. But so you come out to L.A., your dad's making the rounds, your dad's kind of shepherding you
So
around.
my mom was a singer, and they got divorced. And my mom hated show business. She hated my dad. She didn't want anything to do with it, and I was all about it. So I had the opportunity to continue living with my mom and my stepdad and go to Cornell and have a family and have a successful lifestyle as we know it. Or I could move to Hollywood and hang out with comedians and get on TV. And come on, there was no chance.
So how old are you when you audition for Family Ties?
14.
14.
Yeah. And I had hung out at Paramount Studios for a couple of weeks before that because my dad's good friend played the grumpy dad on Laverne and Shirley.
Oh,
Phil Foster, the grumpy pizza owner.
Yeah, the guy owned the pizzeria.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He helped a lot of people, by the way. I'm not the only one. He's credited. A lot of people say they got their career because
Phil Foster.
Phil Foster. He encouraged young
Mr.
comedy.
DeFazio. He was like big bushy eyebrows and a wife beater and short and kind of stout.
He was a stand-up.
Always, yeah. It's these guys' stories are always kind of interesting to me.
A lot of the guys that came up in that era, the 60s and the 70s on TV, whether they were the stars of the shows or they were behind the scenes writing them and stuff, came from the Catskills in New York in the 60s. And
so you're like one of the few people on TV who's playing your age or maybe even a little older than your actual age, right? Because it's
playing my age.
It's pretty understood that the cast of 90210 were in their 30s when they were playing like high schoolers. And I mean, it's kind of a traditional TV thing. Some of it's for legal reasons, but that's how they did. But you were 14 playing 14.
One of the rumors was that NBC liked the idea that I kept the age feeling young for Michael J. Fox, who was just a few years older than me, but nonetheless, by having me next to him, it felt like we were young.
Oh, is he? He's only a couple years older than
He's
you?
maybe technically 7 years older than me or something like that.
Oh, okay.
But when you're 14.
Right. But he's 21 or 22 22 playing a 17-year-old
Yeah.
or something like that. That's the standard. That's how they did it. So the show, is the show a success out of the gate?
No, wasn't popular. Nobody saw it the first 2 seasons. I think they have some of the best episodes if you go back and watch the first 2 seasons, by the way. And it was the 3rd season it really took off when they put it on after Cosby.
Oh, so back then it was about a lead-in,
Yeah.
which nobody cares about today.
And how appreciative am I of Bill Cosby for making it near impossible for me to get laid on the road now. As
Oh, yeah.
I played an innocent character on an 80s sitcom.
That's right.
Now
drop
I'm
his name
instantly
anymore.
suspect.
Victimized.
I go to bars. Girls don't even touch their drinks.
Oh, not with the stink of Bill
I was the lead.
ever present.
He ruined it. And Kramer, they all messed it up for me. Man. Come on.
Wait, Bill was the lead-in, and you guys followed, right?
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
And
Yeah.
it was a big deal because they found that out about season 6 or so. They moved us to our own night, Sunday night.
So first you get the lead-in, or maybe you don't get the lead-in, but then you get the lead-in and you start getting a following, and then they realize you could be the lead for some other show we're trying to launch.
Exactly.
And then they move you.
Exactly. And we were cocky. I got to be honest. We thought we had it covered. We were going out against Murder, She Wrote. Mm-hmm. Murder, She Wrote crushed us.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So what was it, about 6, 7, let's see.
Seven
seasons?
Yeah.
Now,
2
how-
more seasons, I wouldn't even be here right now.
That's right.
Like that.
So
Just
you'd have the
one
mailbox
more
money.
house. Come on.
Was it, was the pay pretty spectacular back then?
I can't complain.
And then you go from that to what?
So I'd already been doing stand up the whole time I was on the show, and then I did Teen Win Loser Draw on the Disney Channel, and some movies, Trick or Treat with Ozzy Osbourne and Gene Simmons.
Wait, can we go back to the pay just for a second?
Yeah.
So how did it work out being a minor getting paid? And what did you have to give some of it to your dad? Did he manage it?
Yeah, I kind of made a deal with my dad. I got emancipated. You know how you do that, right? Because that way you
I've
don't-
heard about it. Yeah.
One of the ways to do it is you go to the judge and you go, look, we have to pay for a guardian to watch him. And everybody's at the studio. He's 15.
Right.
Let's just emancipate him for that reason. Then the moment you get emancipated, you're like, I'm out.
Wow.
I could sign a lease, see a dad. And I had a stepmom that cared about me very much, and I miss her to this day. And she was very sweet, and I didn't respect her properly at the time. I went on to give her all the love she deserves, but when I was 15, I didn't. She wanted me to come home and do homework and normal stuff.
Did you
And
get
I
kind
was-
of a big head?
I don't know if it was the big head as much as just I was hanging out at the comedy clubs, and I didn't want to go to bed early or wake up and go to school.
Ever have any encounters with any of the ladies whose names we may recognize?
You're asking me to kiss and tell?
A little bit. Well, you can say I dated so and so back in the day.
No, I went out on a date with. That's very different than I dated so and so back in the day. The beautiful girl from the Cosby Show,
Oh, let's see.
Lisa.
Wow, yes, Lisa Bonet.
That's it, yeah.
Lisa Bonet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for
And
you.
yeah, well, thank you, because everybody thought I was interested in Mallory, but my interests were somewhere else.
Oh, really? Oh.
But we had met we shot a commercial together, like one of our first jobs when we were young. So I kind of knew her from that, and then we met at an NBC function, and we took off from the taping of the thing, and we went over to the Tonight Show studio. And the sheet was on the desk and everything. We took the sheet off, and
Off Johnny's desk.
I sat in Johnny's chair, and I
Wow.
interviewed her. And
Oh, you just kind of wandered through the back halls
again,
of the
this
place?
was a
Awesome.
different era. You couldn't. I'm sure that's not possible anymore. But back then, we wandered into the studio and turned on the lights.
Wow.
I had a friend. He was a guard at Paramount Studios, and he would go into the Starship Enterprise late at night and turn it on, and things would start blinking, and we'd pretend to
Yeah.
beam in.
Security cameras fucked up a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's
They
totally
ruined a lot of experiences. You couldn't go onto the set of Star Trek. You can't pull a fire alarm at the House of the Senate.
And in Congress, yeah.
You can't
get away with anything.
You can't fucking do anything. There's literally footage of you doing everything.
Yeah.
There's no more
people have
no
cell
more
phones.
lying.
Beetlejuice and give a hand job.
Yes. Huh? What happened?
Who did that?
Lauren Boebert.
Wait, did you say Beetlejuice?
Beetlejuice.
That was the play.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You can't. That's the whole point. You can't do anything. All the innocent stories are now just tabloid fodder in real time. That's those experiences. It's sort of right up there with riding in the bed of a pickup truck.
Can't
do it anymore. Used to be a thing. Put the dog in there, put the kids sit on the fenders so they can get their ass halfway out of the bed of the truck. You'd sit on the fenders. And by the way, the person that was driving the pickup truck would fuck with you a little bit. Like, whoa.
Absolutely.
And just, oh, shit. They'd go wait for you to take a hit off your Slurpee or something and let go of the rail and then a little shimmy. And it, like... I don't know how that seemed like a plan. Like, we're going 47 miles an hour. Let's see if we can get this 13-year-old to hit the pavement. But
my first movie, I was on location in Arizona in this little town. And one of the stuntmen, super cool, we were going to a nightclub. And he got up on the back of the pickup truck and surfed it on the freeway.
Yes.
And I remember like, what the heck? And he was like, oh, no, I'm leaning in. If I fall, I'll fall in. Like, that's what made him feel comfortable about it.
We got a thing. We got a thing we want to do, or we've been doing, which is chick think, and I'll explain what that is, Mark. But we did it yesterday, I think. It's the undoing of society. I talk about a lot of things, and people go, oh, "Come on, hyperbole or exaggeration." No, I'm just a person that spots the piece of yarn that's being tugged on society's sweater before it completely becomes unraveled. I see it when it's 3 inches long. People don't experience it until it's unraveled all the way up to the armpits. But I see it early, and then I yell about it, and then people either say I'm nuts or I'm racist, or possibly, or misogynist, possibly both.
Or a communist.
We're trying to figure out who the leader in the clubhouse is for Chick Think. And we had I don't know if we have an intro to this, Dawson, but we had a former leader, which was who was it? Was the
Councilwoman Nathia Rahman.
Oh, sorry, Councilwoman, yeah, Nathia.
About the catalytic converters getting stolen, she went up and said that we shouldn't criminalize the thieves.
She blamed Toyota for making it too easy to steal. So this is the current leader in the clubhouse of Chick Think, and then the reason we're okay. Blue states and blue cities are the chickiest of the chickiest thinks, and that's why we have the biggest problems, because there's a problem with crime, or there could be a problem with education, there could be a problem like. The ultimate chick think is we're Sanctuary City. We don't have dorms built. We don't have beds. We don't have clean water for them. We don't have jobs waiting for them. We've just announced that we're Sanctuary City. And then when they all show up, we go, what the fuck's going on? Who's going to handle all these people? And they're not sleeping in front of my house.
It'll burn you.
Right. Chick think burns you.
But why chick think? Why not crazy woke liberal think?
It is crazy woke liberal think, which is mainly chick think, and I'm gonna give you an example of a dude who's engaged in chick think big time in a minute. But first, I'll give you the leader in the clubhouse, and then we'll decide, was she knocked off the top of the chick think mountain by possibly the mayor of Chicago in his latest statement, both having to do with automobiles. But here's Nathia. Ramen first.
Chick think.
Instead of responding to it with work, with urgency, with focus on actually addressing the issue, we say, oh, we'll just ban it. We'll just ban it, and that'll be the end of it. Instead of actually thinking about what is going to address this issue in a very real way. In this case, I think one of the things that really infuriates me is that we have a company, Toyota, who makes the Prius, that essentially has a device on their cars, which is super easy to remove. It's basically the value of a MacBook, right? That is put in a place that is incredibly easy to access in your car. And then the thefts related to this issue have essentially all of the costs.
All right. So this is all right. There's 5 elements of chick thinking. One is you can't fucking remember the name of the biggest automotive manufacturer in the world, which is Toyota. So she has to go. She's such a chick thinker. She doesn't know anything about cars.
Prius.
So she has
The
to
company's
go,
Prius.
Prius, Toyota, Prius. And she's using hyperbole. She's saying things like incredibly easy to steal.
You got to go underneath. You need a chainsaw.
I would argue anything that's welded in place
It's not
incredibly easy to steal. If it's welding, like here's the deal. If sparks are created by you removing it,
It's not incredibly easy.
if I took her aforementioned MacBook Pro and I welded it to the hood of a Prius and you had to get in there with a fucking Sawzall, that wouldn't be incredibly easy to steal.
Right.
And
If you put her in a room with a Prius and said, "Give me the catalytic converter," she would not be able to come back with a catalytic converter.
Good point.
if I parked the catalytic converter and her in a Home Depot and said, use any tool you want, bitch, she still wouldn't be able to return with a catalytic converter. And we need to hear it. I don't need the top part. I don't know. We started it. There's a little preamble on there, Dawson, we don't really need. But she says it twice. She says incredibly easy to steal and something else, too.
We say, oh, we'll just ban it. We'll just ban it, and that'll be the end of it. Instead of actually thinking about what is going to address this issue in a very real way. In this case, I think one of the things that really infuriates me is that we have a company, Toyota, who makes the Prius, that essentially has a device on their cars, which is super easy to remove.
All right, all right. Super. Would she like us to do additional welding on this device to make it harder? Like, what would... This is super easy to remove.
They should lock them in the glove compartment.
Except for nobody can remove it without a cutting wheel or a Sawzall. Like,
Yeah.
again...
It sounds like it would just click out.
It's something that's welded into place, and it's... I don't know a more difficult part of the car to get to than under, middle, and tucked. It's tucked up, and it's in the middle, which means it's not closer to one side or the other.
Yeah.
And it's underneath the goddamn car. But this is his chick. She's pissed at Toyota, not the people that steal the catalytic converters. And by the way, she wants to get at the root of the problem. Okay. You can play it out because she just, I can't get enough of her. I just can't.
Super easy to remove.
Super.
It's basically the value of a MacBook, right? That is put in a place that is incredibly easy to access in your car. And then the thefts related to this issue have...
It's incredibly easy and super easy to remove, except for it is welded. Again, not Velcroed in. And not with a flange where you need like a Phillips head screwdriver or something. It is welded, but it's super easy to remove.
Now,
okay.
Just a reminder, she has a bachelor's degree from Harvard and a master's degree
well, that explains.
from MIT.
Okay. So she's not dumb. This is just chick think taking over. And by the way, if you would like to get more catalytic converters stolen, then follow her down her path of retardism and chick think. That's what I'm saying. This will get more. Last I checked, Toyota hasn't made a move. Toyota hasn't agreed to weld a shark cage underneath the Prius.
No. People do that, though. People to protect. You have?
I have it under my Prius.
They have not done anything because they're not only are they under no obligation to do anything sort of as it pertains to the law, but spiritually and morally, they're not obligated to do anything. They build a car in a land where we don't have fucking roving bands of animals with sawzalls trying to make a nickel.
Yeah.
They ship those cars here to the land that has people like them, and then they're protectors, bitches like this, and that's why we have a problem.
Right.
They would not have this problem in Japan. So they've done nothing wrong, and they've done no corrective measures. And so as far as I can tell, it's a Mexican standoff because she's blaming Toyota. Toyota's not doing jack shit, and we still have a problem.
Yeah.
So chick think, But, and I don't know, it's going to be hard to beat her. But there's another automotive chick think who's
contestant today.
Sure.
Who's making a move toward the top of the chick think mountain. And a dude. You'll be happy to know. This guy is the mayor of Chicago. And let's see, what is his name?
Brandon Johnson.
Oh, Brandon Johnson. Yes,
Yeah.
This is Brandon. He's put a tweet out today. Also
Well,
do
it's
with
not a tweet,
automobiles.
it's a quote
Oh,
from
a
his-
statement.
yeah.
I saw it on Twitter, but it was a statement.
Right. And this is in with all the Kia and Hyundai thefts that are happening because of that TikTok review of how to
Yes.
steal them. So he wrote the failure to install basic auto theft prevention technology in these models is sheer negligence, and as a result, a citywide and nationwide crime spree around automobile theft has been unfolding. And this is in conjunction with a lawsuit that Chicago has placed against Kia and Hyundai.
Right. Now, let's get back to basic auto theft prevention. Well, if you don't own the keys, then you can't if the car's not yours and you don't have the keys, then you shouldn't be trying to take the car. But
Yeah.
he's not worried
Focusing on that at all.
No, it's not focusing on the minor detail of people stealing the car.
It's you might as well say, oh, they smashed you got your stuff robbed out of your car. Well, they put windows on the car. We should
Yeah.
look at the window company,
Yeah, you shouldn't have been. Or
the
it's
glass company.
Oh, Toyota for using windows.
Oh yeah, it's their
They should have used
it's
steel
fault using
grates.
windows.
Yeah, really.
On there.
What are they thinking?
Now, obviously, this shall be the demise of society. And you're seeing it in kind of real time, but slow motion as well. But, Mark, I'm curious, who's the chickier of the chickier think here? I mean, we got tape of her and the catalytic converters and super easy
She
to
wins
steal.
because YouTube started that trend of stealing those cars, and that helped lead to that. Right?
Yeah. Also,
you know about that, right? There were like TikTok videos.
Yeah.
where people
yeah,
were stealing
you just with a USB cable, you can can steal one of these cars.
Right, but still ignoring the issue.
That's a
of
problem.
Yeah.
Lots
That's a problem.
of teens running around your city stealing shit and not being punished.
Yeah, and the root of the
adequately.
problem is not how easy it is to steal the car or to
Yeah.
steal the.
And I will say
Device.
that the councilwoman's argument about the catalytic converters is insane, whereas Brandon Johnson, it's still insane, but a lot of other cities have done this right before him too. So he's almost just following suit of what like New York is doing. Even San Diego's doing that. They're suing Hyundai and Kia.
Yes. I agree that his lawsuit and his words live in some dystopian reality.
Yeah.
But the future that no one really wants to see, but he's marching ahead and leading us into that future. And it exists.
Yeah.
Hers is sort of mathematically insane, right?
Indeed.
And there is marching orders for Kia. Kia could do something
They have their
theoretically.
cars internationally are different. That's what I read. That in the U.S. they don't have the
Right.
proper protection.
Toyota can't really do anything
Right.
and won't do anything. And if they do something, they'll just pass it on to the consumer.
Plus, Nathia is the OG. She was the first one that we found that blamed the automaker for all these thefts. Mm-hmm. So I think she still holds the title.
We still have one more.
Okay.
That's Jaylene Cheney. You were
Oh,
telling me about
so
her?
She is a plus size traveling influencer. So she made a lot of news because she started a campaign and petition for airlines to not charge for the second seat if you take up 2 seats on the airplane for plus size passengers.
I'm plus size, so
Yeah.
I'm a plus size has been fluencer.
But do you have to take up both seats? I doubt it.
No,
Yeah,
no, I
so
can,
Matt-
I can
but-
squeeze in there, but it's always a very important game as to who sits next to you.
Yeah. So she started this petition. She made a lot of news, and now she came up with a lot of ideas for hotels to accommodate plus size travelers. For instance, have bigger beds, have bigger robes, have bigger towels. By the way, I'm all for that. That sounds
bigger.
awesome.
I don't mind a bigger
Yeah.
bed or a bigger towel. The bigger robe, I am with Nathia or Natina or Natoya. Or,
Nathia Ramen.
No, I'm with Jaylene.
Shaylin.
Sorry.
Or Jaylin, yeah.
Jaylin. I'm with her on there
A
because
bigger
robe.
Yeah, a robe.
Robe at the hotel because they make a robe. and they just make a medium-sized robe. And it's going to be a little baggy on an average-sized chick, and it'll fit a smaller guy just fine. But the dude with the wingspan,
Yeah, you're Chris Farley.
like a vulture.
You're a big guy in a little
The
coat.
thing's always pulling on my chest. My arms are always hanging way out because it's just one size.
Yeah.
I'll take the large and the medium. Just offer the large.
Yeah, she's asked for 6X. I'm not kidding.
She could solve all these problems by just putting down a sandwich every once in a while and not having the world have to conform to her size.
Yeah.
She could actually shrink herself a little bit.
So I'll play you the clip of one of the ideas she has for hotels, and here it is.
Number 3, make elevators and hallways spacious to allow for easy movement of larger individuals and those utilizing mobility devices.
Yeah.
Like
So
the hallway's bigger.
and the elevators, yeah, have them both. Which once again, I'm for. I could see the Marriott having trouble with this remod.
If you're getting wedged in a hotel hallway, you have much bigger issues than the design and architect of that hotel. That's a serious health issue at that point. And believe me, all the skinny people sharing the hall and the elevator with your fat ass would like that modified as well. But again, all the suggestions, the seat next to you, that's just one more seat the airline can't charge for. And I will explain something that all the fucking people out there with their crazy gypsy, fairy, pixie dust approach to life when they do that, like, oh, all the smash and grabs here. The insurance company just pays for that. Nobody pays for anything. They pass along everything. So when you go like, well, what's wrong with just putting on a 22-cent surcharge? Like, I'm in California. Pack of cigarettes, $12. Why? Because RJ Reynolds eats it every time California legislators say we're going to add $2 onto a pack of cigarettes, or they just add it onto the pack of cigarettes. Everything just gets added on. So you can go, well, Toyota, you should be putting grills on the bottom of those. All right, everyone's going to pay an extra $786 for a Prius. And McDonald's, there should be a surcharge because you're serving French fries that are made in beef fat. How much is it? 22 cents per pack per thing of fries. All right, we'll just add 25 cents on it. Like, they just add everything on. So if it's a airline and you're using up the seat, your fat ass is using up 2 seats, then that just gets passed on to us who are using 1 seat. Or if you're Hilton and your hallways can no longer be 55 inches wide, they got to be 72 inches wide. That'll be 3.5 less rooms we have in this building. Well, then we'll just pass it on. They just pass everything on. Crazy Chick Dink doesn't understand that Kia or whoever, we just pay. That's how it works. When they made a rule that said all automobiles built after 1989 must possess an airbag. And the automobile manufacturers went, all right, that'll be an extra $1,200 a unit. They're not eating it. We're eating it. That's what that's what the chick thinkers
don't understand.
Don't process, Yeah, she could solve her problem by just eating less. She could thin out.
See, I'm not going to go there because I'm 9 months
got
pregnant.
a couple pounds on you, but not much.
I have a medical condition. I'm an emotional eater, which means I cry when the pizza's gone.
What do you? What's your Achilles heel of shitty food?
French fries, probably.
Oh,
yeah.
Burgers,
they're
pizza,
just so good.
Fried chicken.
And
I
then
do it all. I'm the worst.
Then you add the French fries.
I've been eating comedy club food for the last 3 decades.
Oh, yeah, it's all finger foods.
At some point, they add the ranch. And then the ranch just supersizes the French fries into some new fat-ass zone where now...
it's got sugar in it. Yeah.
Oh, it's got all that seed oil and all that shit. But I've noticed in ranch showing up everywhere.
Yeah,
Everywhere.
ranch is included on all plates at comedy clubs now.
I'm a blue cheese guy myself.
All right, I got another thing. All right, so wait, we got to declare a winner here.
I still think it's Nathia Rahman. I mean, the Plus Size Travelers show had a good argument for Chick Think, but at the same time, I don't think she has influence on social media. She doesn't have influence on policy, whereas I think Nathia Rahman does.
Yeah.
So I go with her just because I think it affects more people.
Yeah. And with the mayor of Chicago, he's a male, so I'm trying to say he should get some extra chick thing points for having a cock and balls and still thinking like a chick, but you're right. Nathia's hard to beat.
I have to argue again that it's not chick think. It's woke,
It's
crazy,
emotional
woke.
based.
Yeah.
Think.
But that's chick thing.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah. They're more, listen.
He branded it.
They want to solve problems emotionally, not from a kind of nuts and bolts.
Okay, all right. I'll give you that one.
You ever all right, we'll take a break, but I got a theory. I got lots of theories. I'm going to lay it on you, and we'll do that right after this. AG1. Oh, I love these guys. I take my AG1 Athletic Greens daily. I gave AG1 a try. It's good for gut health, increased energy, immune support. Even tastes great. It doesn't have to. It's that good for you, but it still does. I take it in the morning. I put it in a shaker with some water, and I just shake it up and slug it down. Easy to fit into your lifestyle. It's really the healthiest thing you can do in under a minute. Just 1 scoop of powder, mix with water once a day, and you've got so much packed into that. I mean, every scoop has 75 vitamins, minerals, high-quality, whole food sourced ingredients as well. My AG1 is delivered every month, so you just never have to think about it. And it's easy to make part of your daily habit. Also, you can get the single-size serving travel packs, which I always use when I go out on the road because, I mean, let's face it, you're not eating right. Maybe you're drinking a little too much. Time changes, early calls, and I need my AG1. It's AG1. Right, Dawson?
If you're looking for an easier way to take supplements, Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/ACS. That's athleticgreens.com/ACS. Check it out. Marc Skippy Price is on the Adam Carolla Show.
Mark got dates all over the place, by the way, and you can just go to ijoke.com for that. Now, here's a chick thing.
Okay.
So we've declared a winner. She's not been dethroned. Nathia or whatever her name
And it's
is.
going to be hard.
It's going to be hard, but we'll keep trying.
Everybody tweet us your submissions too, if you come across it, please.
You ever, had this realization the other day that chicks don't like playing along with hypothetical questions. And we were, who do we have in here? Tim Ballard the other day?
Yeah.
And this guy just goes to the armpits of the world and saves kids that are being turned into prostitutes at age 9, essentially. Like, I mean, the most horrific, sex trafficking and human trafficking and stuff. And he liberates those kids, right? But then he gets accused of sexual misdeeds that turn out to be zero burgers. He has a lawsuit, but either way. So if you say to a woman, I don't care if he actually raped a woman, if he is going out and liberating hundreds of kids who are going into sex work and being sex trafficked, I would look the other way. I would say that's bad, but he is liberating hundreds of kids from being abused. And I'll take a lighter thing. Like he has a former girlfriend who accused him of rape one night when they were together or something, or sleeping in the same bed. I would take that if it meant he could go out and liberate all these kids. Women would just go, you got to prosecute him to the fullest content of the law, and you got to lock him up. And I go, well, then what about all the kids then who would be left into sexual slavery without him liberating them? And they go, I don't know, but this guy's got to go to jail. So this is how you win wars, by the way. You cannot win wars if you're thinking the other way.
It's the trolley problem.
Somebody has to go, we have to bomb the German ball bearing factory, and then someone's going to go, there's civilians in there, and you go, sorry, got to be done. Got to stop the blitzkrieg. What do you think?
I'm not so. My girlfriend's waiting outside. I cannot.
But here's what I say to everyone. So your girlfriend doesn't care if 9-year-olds get raped?
No, she cares.
Well, then that's the alternative.
We have to find another.
But that's the alternative. That's the alternative. He liberates 9-year-olds from being raped. Vice wants him locked up. I would like him freed up to liberate 9-year-olds. That's what I'm saying. That's dude thing. It's not because I like rape. It's because I realize there's lesser of two evils. This is what happened to Matt Damon when he tried to explain there's a difference between Al Franken and Harvey Weinstein. He got fucked up.
Because you're not even allowed to say it.
No, but it was chicks and Chick Think that were mad
Chick Think
at him.
would say that Al Franken and Harvey Weinstein are on the same level. Both.
Yeah, they do.
Should be prosecuted.
They don't take it that far. They just go,
you're canceled.
You cannot. Both of them are bad. They have a zero tolerance for anything, and they disapprove of both. And then you would say to them, "Well, who would you rather them have a cross-country trip with?" Would it be Al Franken? Because you can get to the answer if you start pushing a little. Okay, so who'd you rather babysit?
Just don't fall asleep.
Who'd you like to babysit your kid, Al Franken or Harvey Weinstein? And if you have a thought,
Al Franken,
then you have an answer.
Right.
Yeah, but by then you're arguing.
Yeah.
That's why you can't.
And being mad at Matt Damon. It's just
right. Yeah. All right. So
I was thinking about that comedy clip we just heard of Mark. Who was like your celebrity crew back in the day, like when you would go out?
Oh, you mean like Screech and Potsy and all the nerds? Yeah. No. I got to hang out with Michael J. Fox.
Oh, right. You still talk to him, right?
A little bit, but back in the day, he kind of took me under his wing like a younger brother and stuff. We'd go out, and I would feed off of his rejected women. It was like plankton on a whale.
Sloppy seconds.
No, rejected.
Rejected, yeah, not even seconds.
Not even seconds. Just didn't even get close to him, but I was there.
He was quite the heartthrob back then.
All the teen magazines.
Oh, I love the little guys. They love the little guys. Oh, there you two are from back in the day. So you guys would go out, do a nightclub, have a drink?
Yeah. He's married to Tracy Pollan. She was on the show.
Right.
And at the time, she was dating Kevin Bacon.
Oh, that's right.
When they were on the show together. And he was dating Nancy McKeon from Facts of Life. Or I don't know if that was at the same time, but for many years, she was great. She was great, too.
Yeah, and Nancy McKeon had the brother from Alice.
Yeah.
Other child star.
Phil McKeon, if I'm right. Yeah, great.
All right. Something that has nothing to do with anything we've been talking about. But I was laying in bed thinking about this last night. I hate Steve Miller, the musician.
Because of his music or his political?
No. I don't know what his politics are, but I hate his lyrics. I hate take the money and run. He's a detective from Texas. He just wants to know what the facts is. It's just stuff like that. He rhymes the same words together. He's horrible. His lyrics are insultingly bad. There's certain bands that have just insultingly bad lyrics. Cars come to mind. But, if you listen to like Shake It Up or something, it's nonsensical. But Steve Miller's lyrics are an abomination. And I have no idea what his politics are, though I know he got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and complained about it for a long time. So that seems weird to me. But here was my Steve Miller thought. There's much fewer famous people out there than we think. And also, sad. I love Mark McGrath and I love Sugar Ray, but they covered Abracadabra, which saddened me.
Yeah.
I forgot. I was listening to like 90s Sirius XM radio the other day, and I heard them cover Abracadabra, which is any song where he goes, I heat up I can't cool down. Any heat up and cool down song, I'm fucking done. You're out of lyrics. I heat up, I can't cool down. Myself wherever it goes
You got me
round.
spinning.
You got me spinning round and round.
round.
That's what a fucking 5-year-old with a disability comes up with lyrically. Not an adult. It's not rock and roll. It's the opposite of rock and roll. It's like Sesame
I'm not
Street
going to
roll.
defend Abracadabra, but I will defend the famous Steve Miller album with the horse on it.
People love Steve Miller. I get it. Every time I give
Big
this
old jet airliner
speech to someone, that I don't think he wrote that song.
Paul Pena wrote that song.
Yeah, anytime there's a good song that you like, he didn't write it.
And performed.
Just apply the Rod Stewart rule to all Steve Miller songs. Okay, Rod Stewart writes, even the president needs passion, or do you think you want my body and you think I'm sexy? He writes garbage songs. And then once in a while, he does Downtown Train and you go, oh, that's actually a good song. Well, that's Tom Waits. So if there's a Rod Stewart song that you think are Handbags and Glad Rags, that's Cat Stevens. So when there's a Rod Stewart song that you think sounds a little bit smart, that dope didn't write it. He writes the stupid shit about the president needing passion. And everyone needing passion. That's what he writes. And when Steve Miller writes a song that you think you like, or that the lyrics sound mildly interesting, that's somebody else too. Because he's a dope. Lyrically, a dope. I guess he's good with the guitar.
You know, you should
People love
blame
him.
for Abracadabra's success is Europe, because I'm seeing that the label didn't even want him to release that song.
They
as a
were
single.
smart. That's the only.
Yeah, they tried to stop him, and then Europe heard it, and it got so popular in Europe that the label's like, okay, let's release it in the U.S., and it became a #1 hit.
Hoo, hoo. Take the money and run. Woo, hoo. He doesn't even have, he makes sounds that,
Adam, have you heard music on the radio lately? You have the nerve to sit there and complain about Steve Miller?
sucks.
Have you listened to anything on the radio in the last few years?
It's all bad.
He hasn't.
No, I haven't. I guess so. But then Sugar Ray takes a run at Abracadabra. It's just a song that Sugar Ray had remade Abracadabra.
When I was in high school, I was in a band, and a director for a Disney movie. She was doing something with Paul Walker. She did some Fast and Furious stuff with him back in the day. And so she hired our band to be to write, or not to write, but to record the signature song. And it would be a cover of Eddie Money's Baby Hold On to Me.
Nice.
But we would put a punk rock version of it. And so I remember we went into her living room and we had to play it for her.
Oh.
And she loved it. She told us all to grow our hair out. This is supposed to be some big movie with Paul Walker that takes place on a beach. It's about a cowboy and a surfer falling in love. And it never happened, but we all learned "Baby Hold On to Me," and I hated that song, and we hated singing it, but we just did it because we were hired.
Eddie Murphy, Eddie Money, whose real name is Eddie Mahoney.
Yep.
One of the guys who went during COVID, I think.
Really?
I think he's dead.
Yeah, he's no longer with us.
Yeah, the
I wish it
COVID,
was "Take Me Home Tonight." I like that song.
COVID fucked up a lot of people we should have been mourning by just sliding through the COVID cracks.
No, he died. Oh, I don't know if it was COVID or not, but September 2019.
Oh, he died right before COVID or
before.
right as COVID was hitting. Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. So
He did the theme song to my first movie when I was 15. Where's the Party?
Eddie Mahoney?
Eddie Mahoney.
Wow. Do you remember, how do we find that one?
Well, I'm sure it's called Where's the Party? I mean, you won't, the movie you won't find, but you'll find the song.
Yeah, that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
Today, Steve Miller. Everyone knows Steve Miller. And
Nobody knows what he looks like.
nobody knows what he looks like, but everybody knows Steve Miller. Yeah, Steve Miller. And they think they like Steve Miller until they get about 20 minutes with me, and then I fucking
You
straighten
turn
their
them around.
shit out. But then, so here's the thought I was having today. Being famous is harder than we think. There's less famous people because Steve Miller is about the most basic American name there is.
Yeah.
Steve, when I worked construction, there were 9 guys on the site named Steve. I went to high school with 1,000 Steves. You can't even say Steve. You have to go Steve like when I was on a construction site, you go Steve the tin knocker, not the drywaller, not the sheetrocker, like Steve, not the HVAC Steve, the other Steve, Goomper Steve, Steve. Yeah,
that's Steve.
Yeah, the guy, rough carpenter Steve, not finished Steve. Like there's two.
I know it's Steve Miller.
And Miller is super. Like I get it, there's only one Yoko Ono, but that's not a popular name. I don't know who I hate more. But I'm just saying.
Steve Miller or Yoko Ono? Really?
There's not another American named Steve Miller who would cross your mind if someone brought up the name Steve Miller, even though it's the most basic American name. And he's owned it for 50 years. I mean, I'm saying he's older than 50, but Steve Miller's been on the scene for 50 years, and there's no Steve Miller that's ever surpassed it.
Wild.
It's the most basic of all the names. And he's the only famous one, which shows you that it's hard to be famous. If it was easy to be famous, there'd be 7 famous Steve Millers.
There's a few Marc Prices. So there's a gay porn star. We haven't heard from him in a while.
That wasn't you?
That's what I thought we were booking.
Yeah.
That's why we're That's why we're
Cleveland Cavaliers. Marc Price, very good from the outside. 3 points, and the crowd's going crazy. I wake up from a nap. What? Marc Price? He gets the ball. And there's a director who's in England who's very good, and I've been in touch with him. Actually, I want to work with him. He's so good. He thinks
you're the porn star too. That's why he offered. That's why the offer went out. Is there another? Who is
a really special director named Marc Price? I'm serious. You guys got to check his stuff. It's like really good.
Who is the second most famous Steve Miller?
It's really a draw here. It's Steve Miller and then the other Steve Millers. One is a writer and former Las Vegas city councilman.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about.
He doesn't have a band.
Screenwriter, editor, and director, but he was born in 1981, so he's not that famous. College
he was
football
named after
coach,
Steve Miller.
Carroll College, Canadian hockey players.
Yeah.
There's a defensive lineman born in 1992. Let's see who he plays for. He played college ball for the Ohio State Buckeyes.
I'm saying we're at a crazy deficit of the most popular name in America, or two, Steve and Miller put together.
It's apple pie.
It's the most popular name you can have, and there's only one, and he haunts my dreams with his horrible lyrics. That's all. That's me.
You.
That's my lot in life.
He hates Steve Miller.
I just hate his
lyrics. It's like Steve Martin in The Jerk. He hates those cans.
That's right.
Probably the most well-known is the acting commissioner of the IRS, Steve Miller.
That's what I say. The NASA, Apollo 12 guy oversaw that. That's what I'm saying. There is no. It's just Steve Miller.
Good.
That's it.
Yeah, it's hard.
You don't remember, but you do. When we used to name our G.I. Joes when we would play, and it was like a big deal.
I didn't.
You didn't play with G.I. Joes?
No.
Come back to me.
All right, you'd play with G.I. Joes?
Yeah.
And we would argue over the name, right? I'm Bill. No, I'm Bill. We wanted cool names, Bill and Tom and Joe.
Yeah, those just you didn't have a lot of names, but you had to differentiate.
I will say there's certain little exchanges in life that you just never forget. And the great Mark McGrath, who should be coming in on the show sooner than later, because he's such a good dude. And I just remember clear as day about 15 years ago, standing out on a Jimmy's patio outside his house, having a drink, some party Jimmy threw. Could have been Super Bowl. And Mark just looked at me and he goes, I think he was discussing marriage. He said, since when does paying for everything count for nothing? And I said, I don't know when that happened, but it's here. It's here. I feel you. It happened is what happened. It didn't used to be that way, but now we're living it.
Mark McGrath, Sugar Ray is on a summer tour right now. I think it's still going, but it's not coming to California. It's Sugar Ray, Fastball, and the Gin Blossoms.
I would watch that. They better not be covering Abracadabra. That's all I got to say.
When Mark comes in, he's going to have a lot of splaining to do.
All right, we'll take a break. You got some news queued up? We'll do that right after this. Apartments.com helped millions of renters find their perfect places, and they're all different because none of us are the same. So why should our homes be? Apartments.com has the right tools to help you find the place that's uniquely perfect for you. Sort through and filter listings by amenities And don't miss out on their instant alert option. With over 1 million available units for rent, you'll find the place that's right for you. Whether you're looking for a place with a basement, a yard, or a pool, apartments.com. That's apartments.com, the place to find a place. Yeah, one funny tweet I forgot to share with you that was regarding Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson blaming Kia for having the car stolen. Somebody tweeted me back and said, it's like blaming the woman because her skirt was too short. And I thought, yeah, that's it. It's essentially what that is. You deserved it. You're dressed too sexy, and it was out too late at night.
Walking alone at night.
Walking alone at night, that short skirt. Now, he would never stop vomiting if you ever said that to him, but that's exactly what him blaming Kia is. All right, let's do some
Misblame.
Do some news. Yes.
Mark, you a Dodgers fan?
No.
Okay.
1970s Mets fan.
Oh, all right. I know you're
Some
an LA
things
guy.
never change.
Well, big Dodgers news, kind of. So the former Dodgers pitcher Trevor Bauer, he has broken his silence.
Yes.
So just a reminder, so he had allegations of sexual assault against this woman, Lindsay Hill from Pasadena. And so he was suspended during the investigation for 324 games. The ban was eventually reduced to 194 games.
Yes.
The Dodgers released him. He's now pitching in Japan. So that's kind of his story.
Yeah.
So he released this video now talking about the ordeal, saying and sharing some like text messages. So for instance, he's basically saying he's basically putting it all out there. Like he said that we've both settled. We've agreed that I don't have to sign an NDA or stay silent about this. So I'm going to tell you what happened. And he shared some texts between the woman and her friend.
Yeah, so this guy was canceled by Major League Baseball and got the longest suspension ever, I think 2 years, and then they trimmed it down to, I don't know, 190 games or something like that. He's Cy Young winner, career destroyed, and the woman had like pictures of herself with black eyes and stuff like that, but he's going to mention it in here, but I hope he sues the shit out of Major League Baseball. I want all these entities sued I want the city of Burbank sued for closing down Tin Horn Flats. I want MLB sued for firing a guy or casting a guy to Japan with no due process.
No convictions,
I want
nothing.
fucking YouTube sued for firing anybody. We can't have a system where there's an allegation and then the person gets fired.
Everybody's hip firing right now. Yeah.
Right. We have to figure out whether the person did it or not, and then we can fire them.
So finally, and so he couldn't talk while the investigation and the court proceedings and all that was happening. But now he released this video and he shared some text, like, "Oh, here's some text between Lindsay and her friend," and I'll read them to you. So
she comes across as the worst human being on the planet.
She absolutely does.
Oh my God.
So first she texts her friend before even meeting Trevor, "Hey, next victim, star pitcher for the Dodgers." And then another one before she's going to his house for the first time, she texts her friend, "What should I steal?" And her friend says, "Take the money. Take his money." And then she goes, "So how might that work? I'm going to his house Wednesday. I already have my hooks in. You know how I roll." And then after she meets him, she texts her friend, "Net worth $51 million. And her friend responds, "Bitch, you better secure the bag."
Now, does he go over these in this video?
Well, I cut the video because it's 4 minutes long. So I'm just giving you guys a text, and then I'll play you a part of the video here. So another text was, "I need daddy to choke me out, being an absolute whore to try to get in on his $51 million. And then she's friends with another pitcher from the Padres, and even the Padres pitcher's like, "Hey, you got to get his bag." Right? So that's kind of and her AA sponsor even asked her at one point, "Do you feel a tiny bit guilty?" And she responded, "Not really." So there's all those texts. And now they go to court, and he eventually finds out that she was withholding evidence from him and his legal team.
Yes.
And I'll play you some of that.
During discovery.
August of 2021, Lindsay Hill's claims were heard in court. And during those legal proceedings, critical information was deliberately and unlawfully concealed from me and my legal team. Information like this video, which was taken by Lindsay Hill herself the morning after she claimed she was brutally attacked, emotionally traumatized, and desperate to get away from me. And now we have the metadata, so there can be no dispute. It was taken mere minutes before she left my house on the morning of May 16th, 2021, without my knowledge or consent, of course. In it, you can see her lying in bed next to me while I'm sleeping, smirking at the camera without a care in the world, or any marks on her face.
Yeah. So Bauer, he eventually sues the woman. She countersues. It's all defamation stuff. Their settlement called for no exchange of money between the parties, but she will receive a separate $300,000 from her insurance company.
She's the worst person in the world.
Yeah.
How can you?
Terrible.
First things first. If you accuse somebody of a crime that they could get 10 years in prison for, and it turns out to be a hoax, then you should fucking get 10 years in prison. That would put an end to this real fast. If you accuse them of something, if you made it up out of whole cloth and you're getting this person put away, potentially, for a decade, then you should be put away. That would slow people's roll a lot. But then I don't get it. Did she punch herself in the face or actually, because there's pictures of her with like black eyes, and she got someone to like traumatize her? So,
and what's interesting, obviously, Trevor also reveals in the video he never settled. Obviously, he never. He said he just wanted to clear his name. He paid way more to his lawyers than he could even ever get back from her, and all the lawsuits. But yeah, it's true. Like, he has stood strong. Like, and even just I remember seeing him get attacked on social for all of this, and like he did seem like an a-hole on social media because of just the way he was acting. And now all of this finally comes out, and everyone's just going, "Oh, my bad."
Yeah, well, you set the movement back when you do this. You totally, every race hoax set the Jussie Smolletts of the world, they set the movement back, and these bitches set the movement back, too, for actual victims.
Right. Yeah, what's going to happen the next time a woman has a real accusation? We're going to come back to this.
But also, why is there no prison time for her? I mean, this is extortion, essentially. Right. She was trying to get millions of dollars from this guy. And by the way, you have to believe all women. Oh, we do? Because this is where it's heading. I mean, that's what motivates these shrews. Us as a society going, gotta believe all women.
It's gross.
False allegations, obviously wrong. Cancellation based on just allegations, obviously wrong.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The idea that we all judge based on what we see in TikTok clips and things doesn't seem the court of public opinion.
But so many people do.
Which you are a Supreme Court judge of public opinion.
Thank you.
Now, I will say this. Other women have come out and accused Trevor Bauer of sexual assault and things like that. Like, well, just like really like rough sex, choking, all that stuff. But, you know, he always just said it was consensual.
Yeah. I don't know where those. Do we have pictures of her looking sad with the black eyes?
Oh, that was supposedly that day or the next day or something.
There's some filters on that.
Maybe she just filtered it
crayon.
up.
Yeah, like
there's a picture of a woman who looks battered, but this woman
is that. Do we know that that's supposed to be that day, or is that totally a separate thing?
No, that's a claim that Trevor
that it happened that day, and yet we saw the picture
and then
of her smiling.
Showed the video of her smirking at the camera.
Oh, here's the other thing too.
Is that just cheap makeup? Or?
We need to shun more. We've gotten away from judging and shunning. Years and years ago, people were like, "You can't judge." I'm like, "Oh, you better judge. You better judge. Otherwise, we're going to end up with a shit show for society." She should be a pariah. She should be judged and shunned.
Oh, and so everyone's also going after Molly Knight, a reporter for The Athletic, who sided so much with this woman and basically started a campaign to get Trevor Bauer canceled.
Shunned too.
She has also deleted all of her tweets recently about Trevor Bauer and hasn't been responding to any comment. But yeah, so she's also.
That's one good thing about my world is that I was canceled in the early '90s, and you can't be canceled twice. Did you know that? It's like a murder charge.
Yes.
Yeah. You only get one cancel.
Double jeopardy on
can't
Skippy's canceling.
So I'm good.
Yeah. Okay. Everyone, these people should be ashamed. They never are for some reason. And then he should just lawyer up and sue the shit out of everybody. I hate the litigious world we've turned into, but sue Major League Baseball. If we don't, unfortunately, like meaning you bring up something like Kyle Rittenhouse, he's a 16-year-old guy, whatever. Then the bitches from The View are like, this guy's a white supremacist who went there to go kill black people or something. Sue him. Yeah. You have to sue them because that's the only way they'll shut up. They won't shut up. And you talk about like fake news. That's fake news.
Right.
And you're ruining people's lives along the way. This guy had to go to Japan. This guy's a Cy Young Award-winning pitcher, had a $100 million plus contract, and has to move to Japan so he can continue his career because one nutty chick made an insane allegation.
Do you think he sues the Dodgers?
I hope he sues the Dodgers and Major League Baseball and Bowie Kuhn.
I mean, he did
who
say...
used to be the commissioner of baseball in the 70s. His name was Bowie.
That's a good name.
There's a guy named Bowie. Bowie Kuhn.
He'd hang out with a guy named Skippy.
Skippy, you know Bowie?
Bowie and Skippy.
Yeah.
Bowie and Skippy? Would you take him on the road with you?
Sure.
Would you let him middle?
Yeah.
You'd let him feature? Bowie Kuhn ran Major League Baseball for 13 years.
Yeah. He's not involved in this story, though.
He's probably going.
Yeah. Leave Bowie alone.
Find Bowie. Remember his name, Bowie?
What's his last name? Hume or Cume?
Kuhn, Bowie. Kuhn.
That's him.
Bowie?
Yeah, but he pronounced it Bowie.
Yeah. Bowie Kuhn.
Yeah. What? How many years did he? Let's see.
69 to 84.
He had a good run.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get Bowie.
What would Bowie do?
He wouldn't put up with this nonsense.
Well, Trevor did end the video going, look, I'm glad I can finally talk about this, but I'd like to put this behind me and just start winning baseball games. Mm-hmm. So.
In Japan, or is it going to be a Dodger?
I don't think he's going to be a Dodger. I don't think
Also-
the Dodgers are going through some PR stuff right now because there's also another pitcher, Urias, that is being accused of domestic violence.
Mm.
So,
Maybe the
yeah.
Mets will grab him.
They don't want to. Yeah, Mets,
Maybe it's like
Mets have no morals, right?
A new kind of money ball where they'll just grab all the people that are accused and put together a super team.
They could
Oh,
still
yeah.
play.
Get Brad Pitt on the phone.
Yeah, but I think Trevor Bauer's. I could see him coming back to the MLB.
All right.
All right, so there's this other story out of Detroit, Adam, that there's a shooting back in 2021, and the teenage shooter killed 4 students, wounded 6 other people. But what's interesting about this is the parents, for the first time ever, are being tried for manslaughter.
Good.
Yeah, so it's so the court, so they're trying to appeal, and the court today just ruled that it's not going to hear the appeal. Okay, so this is the first time that this has happened where the parents are being charged. Prosecutors argued that the parents can be charged because they showed gross negligence for failing to secure the weapon. The family's called the Crumbleys. So the Crumbleys have been accused of knowing their son was a troubled teen. Mm-hmm. He was too young to own a gun, but they bought him one anyway, 9mm.
They bought him a 9mm.
Yep.
At what age?
So he was 15 when it happened.
Isn't that a bad sitcom? The
17
Crumbleys?
Yeah,
The Crumbleys.
it really sounds
the
like
worst
it.
one.
Yeah.
So Ethan, the kid, has pled guilty. He could be charged life without parole. He's 17 now. And the court finds that the defendant's parents frequently left him alone at an early age. His parents frequently used alcohol and argued in front of the defendant.
That's everybody that grew
I
up in the
know.
70s? Okay.
That's right.
They also failed to take his mental health seriously, and his father bought him the gun that he used in the school shooting. So
Again, look, theme of today, deterrence. Yelling at Toyota is not a deterrent for people stealing catalytic converters and telling chicks who try to destroy your life and extract money and accuse you of rape. Well, I guess we just broken even. Let's let bygones be bygones. It's not a deterrent. You know what I mean? Locking the bitch up for 10 years is a deterrent for the future stuff. And telling parents with the troubled goth teen who buy him the 9mm, he goes and shoots somebody, you're going to jail too. These are deterrents. That's why we don't need incentives. We need deterrents. Right. So
yes,
I'm all for it.
You're for this.
Yes.
All right.
Unless one of my kids fucking shoots a lug nut off and goes on a killing spree, in which case I disavow them right here and now.
Also, there's a story on Saturday. There's a young 9-year-old girl who went missing while riding her bike. Did you hear about this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was all over the news.
Oh, yeah, it totally was. So there's a suspect is now in custody. They found her. So what happened was the parents received a ransom note at their home, and the note had fingerprints on it. And they used the fingerprints to trace it back to the guy.
Well, to be fair, or something to him. I saw a picture of the guy.
Yeah,
I mean,
we
he
have
looks off.
So this
He looks severely.
Isn't that the guy
impaired.
that sings with the banjo?
He definitely plays a banjo.
He
and
does the Richmond, north of Richmond
That's the guy.
song.
Yeah, that's him.
His name's Craig Nelson Ross Jr.
Oh, from Coach.
I know, poor Craig T. Nelson, and also, and Craig Nelson Ross Sr. for his name being.
Oh, it's why you got to think very carefully about the juniors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because look, he could be a bonus baby in the NBA, or more likely, pedophile who abducts a 9-year-old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now your
Tarnished
name's on
name.
that shit.
Yeah.
I like his hairline, the mustache, and the beard. It's the complete package. He looks the same upside down as he does right
Yes.
now. Can we flip him over there?
He looks impaired.
Yeah. Well, he sent a ransom note with his fingerprints on it. They used the fingerprints. They also used some cell phone pings, and they found the girl in his trailer, hidden in the cabinet.
Wow.
Hidden in the cabinet.
Yeah, she was in the cabinet.
Well, thank God they got her back. That's
Yeah.
that's amazing. Through fingerprint, you don't think they even use fingerprints anymore? That seems ancient now.
I know.
I think he got a DUI like in '99 or something, and there's printed. I know I sound like I have two heads on all of this stuff. One is with COVID, I now essentially don't trust the government to be in charge because I don't trust those fuckers at all after what they tried to do.
I'm with you, by the way. I don't trust them anymore.
FBI, CIA, WHO, whatever.
Any one of those.
The Barbara Ferrer, the health coordinator for Los Angeles. I don't fucking trust Gavin Newsom. I don't trust any of those people anymore. But I am a big fan of everyone just having DNA and having a database and fucking solving all this shit.
What is the argument against that again? Just privacy issues, or is it?
Well, what it is, I was always the guy who said, look, if you've done nothing wrong, then have the DNA on file, and then that'll be good for the non-murderers like me. So if I'm ever accused of murder, I can go check the database. That wasn't
my
me.
semen.
That's not my semen. At least it doesn't taste like it. But so have my data on file. That's where I was always like, if you're innocent, then you have nothing to fear. And why does the government want to run around and incarcerate innocent people, and what's in it for them? And I've been kind of a broken record about it. I remember once there was a big story where somebody said we should take everybody who's on death row and get a DNA sample from them. And then we'll file that, and then we will be able to solve a bunch of cold case murders because there's a good chance those guys were involved with other murders. That's how it works. You're either kind of in or out in the murder department, right? And so there's a bunch of cold cases of murders, and then you might be able to get them off the books if you had all the DNA of everyone who was on death row. But of course, the ACLU got involved and had a big problem with it. This is when I learned to hate.
What is the problem?
They're the ACLU. They have a problem with everything. They don't have a problem, by the way, with vax mandates and travel cards and stuff like that. That's not what the ACLU. ACLU has no problem if you're a fireman and you don't want to get vaccinated because you already had COVID and you have natural immunity, and they're going to shit can you from the San Bernardino Fire Department. ACLU is not interested in that. They're not interested in your job. They're not interested in Tin Horn Flats being shut down by Burbank. Not that. But they are interested. They've turned into a weird lefty fringe organization.
Does anybody listen to the ACLU?
No,
it seems like they're the Karens of organizations.
Them and PETA have gone the same route. You become such hysterical shrews that no one listens to you anymore. CNN's gone down that road. Like, why are you damaging your brand so much by fucking being Karens? But anyway, I used to think that way. Mm-hmm. And then COVID came around, and I saw what Trudeau was trying to do in Canada, and now we want to have vax mandates and
it really opened a lot of our eyes.
And
really
vaccine passports, and if you're not vaccinated, you shouldn't be allowed to return to your job, and you shouldn't be allowed to travel. And I was like, maybe I don't want the government having. This is the same thing. I'll give you a perfect example. They want to go with this whole universal cash, e-cash, no more cash, no more check. The government will stay in charge.
Keep it digital, yeah.
Right. Well, then
Right on your hand.
COVID goes down, and then some guys start saying, you know what? I'm against them shutting schools. I'm against them shutting beaches. And I don't want my kids vaccinated. Oh, maybe we should cut that guy's cash off.
Oh, that's happening. That's happening already.
That's what they're trying to do. Whatever's going on in Canada is coming here. That's what I'm saying. So now, not a fan of the government with all the information. Sad. I used to be. Not anymore.
The mRNA vaccine is now in our meat supply. They're giving it to the cows.
Oh, really? Oh,
cattle
perfect.
and shrimp.
What could go wrong?
Yeah, they just won the Nobel Prize.
They want us to get that vaccine one way or the other.
That's right.
They're determined.
All right. What else we got?
All right. So there's these stories. I have 2 OnlyFans stories. One, and I just want to get your thoughts on this because I think it's just interesting. So one of them is a teacher, a high school teacher. Now imagine Adam and Mark too while you're in high school.
2 OnlyFans stories. I only have 2 fans.
Oh,
Perfect.
See, this is going to line up perfectly. So imagine being in high school. You have a 28-year-old teacher. Mm-hmm. Find out she has an OnlyFans account. You're going to check it out, right?
Oh, yeah.
You
I
gotta.
would have checked out Mrs. Sontag's.
Is it true or is it just the rumor? Because we used to rumor one of our teachers was a Playboy centerfold, and I'm not sure she really was, but that was the word on campus.
Well, this is true. So her
What
name's
campus
Brianna.
did you go to?
You can't call it a campus, really. It was junior high, but
What junior high did you go to?
Emerson. It's not there anymore. Next to the Mormon Temple in Westwood.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
That's
coming from a
crazy.
little school in suburban New Jersey, it was something else too. It felt like a campus.
Oh,
It
sure.
was so big, and there's so many people.
So
this teacher, so she has an OnlyFans account, and she started doing it because she was making $42,000 a year. She after starting the account, she brought in an extra $8,000 to $10,000 every month. Right?
All right.
So she's doing it, and she knew she's going to get caught. She's just like, look, it's eventually going to happen. I'm just going to keep doing it and see until I get caught. Well, she got caught. What happened was her and her husband made a video with like another couple in St. Louis, and that made the rounds. And eventually, the superintendent got wind of it, probably from a few complaints. And
Or he was just,
yeah, who knows? Who knows what the source
checking
is?
out the web late at night.
But she has
Whoa.
since been let go.
Mrs. Jensen.
Yeah, they said that this is inappropriate. There she is. Mrs. Coppage, English teacher. So she did it because it was over the summer to help her support her household.
yeah.
Is this okay with you? Are teachers okay to have OnlyFans account?
It's interesting because there's like a whole bunch of different arguments. One is it's their business and that's their side hustle, and so be it. On the other hand, I get the argument with certain positions, like you're in the military or you fly for American Airlines or something, or you're a senator or something. Like I get the part that there's a difference between certain jobs and like forklift driver.
What you do in your your off time.
and I get the sort of rules of conduct or the conditions or something like when you sign a contract to play for the NFL or play professional sports or something, they go, we have a code of conduct. Like we don't want to see you out with your Instagram doing dick pics or whatever. Like I kind of understand the understanding part where you go, okay, this is part of this job. So I kind of get that part.
So you're okay with the school letting her go?
I am. On the other hand, I like the sort of autonomy part where she's free to do her own thing on the weekends and holidays as well. But I would say if it kind of becomes a distraction and now you can't, it interferes with your job because you have kids with boners sitting in classes.
Teach kids if they know. Yeah, exactly.
I would have definitely, this is junior high?
High school.
Oh, high school. Yeah, I would definitely have a boner in her class. I don't.
Yeah.
By the way, she taught English. Mm-hmm. Everything would be a double entendre. You know what I mean? There's no way she'd go, we're having the pancake fundraiser on Saturday. I hope you can all come. Oh, you mean like that load that landed on your hair I saw on my phone on the walk-in? Like you
got her.
Everything would be a double entendre.
Yeah.
What if she has a tutoring session set up and an OnlyFans and she's going back and forth and it gets confused? That would be a scene in a movie, maybe.
80s, yeah.
Yeah.
80s.
I get the school. I don't want to be a prude, but I give the schools to him.
Yeah, well, once the story broke, she's like in the top 1% of OnlyFans earners now.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
so
Everybody's
she doesn't want to go hang out with those little shits. Yeah.
So she'll be okay. But in Minneapolis, there's a police officer who's being investigated right now. So what happened was she pulls over a citizen. She walks up to the car. She's an OnlyFans account. And the guy in the car is like,
recognizes her?
Hey, I know you. Oh, my God. And,
wow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that because that indicts me, I guess, too, if I'm the motorist. But anyway, so he recognizes her.
Right. So here's the difference, though. So the mayor of Minneapolis, did I say that? I don't even know. He said, I don't care.
Yeah. Well, he's probably progressive because that town's turning into a shit show, and he's not going to.
It's behind a paywall. There's no issue. Although the chief of police is still investigating if there are any policy violations. For instance, this happened in Michigan last year, and what happened was this police officer, while she didn't wear her uniform in her OnlyFans pictures, she did wear it on her Instagram account, which promoted her OnlyFans account. So she was able to link work to OnlyFans, and she got fired for that instantly. But this
is a new world order. We're going to have to get used to it.
Yeah.
And we're going to figure out where the line is. I think the school teacher thing's maybe the line, the cops, who cares? But, also kind of, it's going to happen more and more. It's just everyone's going to have their side hustle. Anyone who's not fat is going to just have their OnlyFans account. Like we're living in a time where when I was growing up, we had like Farrah Fawcett and Cheryl Teagues. You know what I mean? We didn't have a lot of also runs. Like a lot of
best of the best.
A lot of sixes and sevens need not apply.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's only
all the
so
girls
much
that Michael J. Fox rejected.
That's right. There's no. Right.
She's got the top percentage of.
And we seem to have some sort of unyielding and limitless desire for porn, even though, to me, porn is like pizza toppings. If you say to me, like, I got a new pizza topping, I go, I don't need it. We got pepperoni, we got sausage, we got onion. You can have, if you like pineapple, knock yourself out.
I'm satisfied.
There's mushrooms. We're done. There's 23 offerings. I don't need a 24th. And I feel the same way.
All the new drugs. I'm that way with all the, I don't want to try a new drug.
Yeah, this is a synthetic form of horse tranquilizer. It's like, are we out of cocaine? Are we out of cocaine? Are we out of beer? Are we out of pot?
I feel like the opposite of Huey Lewis. I don't want a new drug.
Want a new drug. Then we're done. And I feel this way about seeing naked chicks do shit to themselves and with dudes. I'm like, we have enough. We're set.
When I hear how much they make, I'm like encouraging my girlfriend, hey, you should try an OnlyFans.
Well, speaking of, so we had Greg Fitzsimmons in here yesterday. Mm-hmm. And he was talking about the time before that he came on, and we had Maitland Ward co-hosting, porn star. And Greg was talking about how he went and looked her up right after the show. He was smitten by her. And and it was like... He
took care of his business.
He said it was like 3D.
Yeah. That's the weird thing about... dating in LA, you could actually look up the girl naked before the date.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I announced I'm too old to do this.
You didn't do it.
I haven't done it.
Well, we did a staff poll to see who did.
Yeah, so when you have a porn star come in here and hang out, it's curious who goes and does their homework when they get home.
It's very appropriate, a staff poll.
Where are we at? She, by the way, was insulted that I didn't rub one out to her. So,
right. She gave you like DVDs. She was encouraging it.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you think it would be?
I would hope that we're at a 75-25. 75 looked it up, 25 didn't.
Okay, this is the staff poll.
This is the staff poll. Spell it any way you want.
See, this is why she couldn't go back inside the classroom. Because if she said staff and poll and we're having the pancake, who's coming, everyone's like, everyone's just laughing the whole time, right?
Right. So it's everybody said yes except for Emmy.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I just said Emmy's a liar.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Even the other girls that work here?
Yeah, he just had a kid. He couldn't. He can't.
I checked it out before she came on.
Yeah. Well, that's just good producing.
Yeah,
just good producing. Research. All right, let's bring it home. We got Bill O'Reilly waiting in the wings. Mark Skippy Price, everybody. got a movie coming out 2024, Witchy Ways, and you can wait for that. But live dates, you can go out now.
He's on the road all the time.
On the road all the time, all over the country. ijoke.com is where you go for all the live dates.
This Thursday, Pittsburgh at the Roost. This Saturday, Lorraine Palace in Ohio. Coming up, Jokers in Toronto at a place called Hungry Like the Wolf in Houston for an 80s night.
Everywhere. So go to ijoke.com and find all the live dates. Quick break. Bill O'Reilly back with the Killing series, and we'll do that right after this. Well, good news. It's O Rewards Member Appreciation Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get the most out of your membership. Shop, earn points, and get rewards sent right to your phone or email. If you're not an O Rewards member yet, sign up. It's quick and it's easy. You can do it online or in the store if you like. Just ask one of their professional parts people about joining O Rewards next time you visit, and you can start earning points on your first purchase. Sign up for both email and text and get even more out of your membership. And right now, members receive 2 times, 3 times, up to 8 times O Rewards points on select purchases. Those bonus points can help you get to your next reward even faster. You receive a $5 reward for every 150 O Rewards points, and you can use your reward on your next in-store or online purchase. So don't miss O Rewards Member Appreciation Month now at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store and O'ReillyAuto.com. Bill O'Reilly back on the show. Oh, always bringing it with the Killing series. Killing the Witches, the Horror of Salem, Massachusetts. It's available now wherever you find finer books. And Martin DeGard, man he works on the books with, has been on the show as well. And 13th book in the Killing series. And I would just say it's a bite size or bigger than bite size. But if you want to become an expert on any subject, just all you have to do is read the Killing series on that subject, and you will know more than anybody else at the party about that series. So congratulations again, Bill O'Reilly.
Well, I appreciate it, Carolla. Sold 90,000 copies in the first 6 days. Excellent Halloween book. You can give it to the urchins when they come for candy. Candy will hurt them. The Killing series will frighten the bejesus out of them. But anyway, I wrote the book because we have witch hunts today, as you know. It's called cancel culture, and you've been discussing that for years now.
Yeah, well, you know, it's funny. When you talk to a guy like Dr. Drew, he keeps bringing up the French Revolution to me. And he keeps saying, I'm reading every book on the French Revolution, and it's exactly what's happening now. And there's a lot to learn from history because humans don't change that much. The clothing changes and the modes of transportation change, but the instincts sort of remain the same. And we're not putting women in wells anymore, but they're still being essentially destroyed, men and women. So there's many parallels. And I think we should get to the sociological aspect of it in 1 second. But first, the nuts and bolts of where it took place, when it took place, and how long it took place.
All right, book opens with the Mayflower and Carolla, and O'Reilly did not book passage on that. It was a horrendous voyage. 66 days, Plymouth, England to Massachusetts Bay. Wait till you read about what these Puritans, and that's what most of them were on the boat, went through. I mean, we had Thanksgiving, Pilgrims, pass the stuffing. No, this is brutal. And they get here, and they're all at each other's throats, all religious fanaticism. You got to go to church for 4 hours on Wednesday in addition to Sunday. The kids can't dance or laugh or sing. Repression. Group breaks off. They go to Salem. Was no Boston in 1692. They're farmers. And then all of a sudden, these 12-year-old girls, bored out of their minds, decide to say, well, goody, somebody came to me in the night and told me to sign the devil's book and all of this. Whereupon the nutty, loony clerics haul these people into court and say, prove you're not a witch. All right? That would be like saying to Carolla, prove you're not Jimmy Kimmel. Okay, because we think you're the same person. And 2 weeks later, you got a rope around your neck and you're swinging from a tree. And that's exactly what happened. And there were good people in Salem, but if you said, hey, this is wrong, we have to have due process, evidence, all of this, then the next day you were a witch. And the only reason it ended was because these loons accused the governor's wife of being a witch, Mary Phipps, whereupon the governor, William Phipps, shut it down. It'd probably still be going on today if they didn't do that. So anyway, we bring you all the way through that, how Benjamin Franklin, as a young teenager, saw this insanity, all right, learned about it, was outraged, took it to the Constitutional Convention, which is why we don't have an imposition of religion in America. Patrick Henry and others wanted America in the Constitution to be defined as a Christian nation, but because of Salem, that did not succeed. Then we take you to modern day, and I tell you stories about regular people who didn't do anything wrong, but were accused, whole lives destroyed, and no due process. And the corrupt media loves this. They love the accusation. Page 1, page 3, whatever it may be. But then if you're found to be not guilty or there's no evidence, charges drop, page 32. Meanwhile, your whole life is upside down. That's the cancel culture. The clerics used it to seize power in Salem in 1692. The far left is using it now to wipe out their enemies. It's really a harrowing story. When you get through with this book, and I'm not even going to mention, we take you to the movie set of The Exorcist. All right? 9 people died during that filming. Do you know that, Carolla?
No, never heard that.
William Friedkin, he was a pagan. He died recently. He didn't believe in anything. He said once he went through that process, all of his beliefs were changed because of the weird and bizarre things that happened. Because witchcraft is essentially you're possessed by a demon. And that's what The Exorcist was about. So we linked that in and tell you about the real case that the book and movie was based on.
How is it that 9 people died during the filming of The Exorcist?
Well, you got to read the book, Carolla. Come on. I can't go down all 9 of them. But there were 2 actors in the movie, 2 people on screen, passed away during the filming.
Wow.
It was beyond bizarre. Beyond bizarre.
So just to put a number on it, 1692. So 92 to 93. So it only took place over 2 years, correct?
Right.
And 30 found guilty, 20 executed. All women?
No. A couple of men, and more than 200 were awaiting trial. Because once you got arrested, there was no bail. It's like New York and L.A. No, you just threw you into jail. They didn't even offer you bail. Now, if you were a witch in Los Angeles, you wouldn't be charged. In fact, you'd probably be given a free apartment.
Yeah. Well, what is, and yeah, so there's much like the aforementioned French Revolution, many parallels. And you study all the killing series. You get to see everyone, some at their best, some at their worst, but a snapshot of society going back sometimes into the 30s, sometimes into the gangster years, sometimes into the American Indian years. Have you gleaned that these are all just humans that have the same biologies we have now and the same impulses, and no, we don't shoot arrows at people or drive by with Tommy guns and shoot up their Lincolns or throw the witch in the well, but the chemistry is the same and the impulses, the bad impulses, are still the same?
As you said at the top of this broadcast, people don't change all that much, although the level of knowledge does. So in Killing the Witches, and this is the 13th book, if you read all of them, starting with witches and then going to Killing England and then Killing Lincoln, a Civil War, you'll know everything about your country because we take you right up. Last one was Killing the Legends, to contemporary history, social history. But the level of fear that was in America in 1692-93 was because anytime you could turn around, a Native American raid could happen. You could be accused of being a witch or whatever. It was just fearful, fear. And that same fear is in play today. So the human condition hasn't changed, but we have raised our awareness of right and wrong, of civility and things like that. One of the interesting things that I wanted to do in Killing the Witches was I wanted to pose the question to non-believers like yourself, Carolla, and I wanted to present evidence of unbelievable things that happened. Chronicle. There was a 13-year-old boy, Ronald Hunkler, Maryland, okay? He was the basis for the book and the movie The Exorcist. They changed the character in The Exorcist movie to a girl, Linda Blair, because she was more sympathetic. We tracked this Hunkler all through his life, and it took 3 months for 8 Jesuit priests to stop the physical things that were happening to him, because physically, and they recorded him speaking in languages that people don't know, Etruscan, things like that. And we got all the diaries. You know, one of the good things about the Killing series is we don't make things up, we don't speculate. We see it, and we put it down. Every word in the Salem witch trials in 1692 was written down, every single word. And those transcripts are in museums in New England. And so we didn't have to make up any dialogue or anything like that. It's all there. Because the clerics and the judges who were involved with murdering these witches, they thought maybe this is going to snap back at us. So we got to write everything down. And that's how we write these killing books.
What's your take on the current situation we're in now? Everyone is always curious on your takes politically. Trump in court all the time, some right. Pending, you know, to me, the Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, you know, grift in Ukraine and Burisma and stuff like that, I can see which way it's trending, and it's trending the same as the vaccines were trending, which is you get a vaccine for COVID, you never have to worry about COVID, you get one shot, you're cured, and you can't spread it to everyone. And then it turned into, well, you got to get 2 shots. And then it turned into, well, you can get it, but you can't spread it. Then it turned into, well, you got to get 3 shots and you can get it and you can spread it. And now it's turning into you get 4 shots. Like, you can see which way the vaccine is going. You can see which way the whole Wuhan lab thing went from the wet market to, well, it's definitely in the wet market, maybe the lab, we don't think the lab, now it's the lab, eventually Fauci in the lab. Like, we can see where these things are going, right? And Hunter Biden and his laptop and Joe Biden and all the graft and corruption, I see which way it's going. It went from, I never discuss business with my son ever, to I wasn't in business with my son, to I never directly benefited from my son. Like, we know where this is going, but where do you think it's going?
Well, first, let me backtrack a little bit. So Trump uses the term witch hunt every hour on the hour because of all his legal problems. Now, I told this guy the other day, can he just hold my book up when he says witch hunt? Just hold it up. That would be great for me, all right, if he did that. And he's correct. Not to say he didn't do anything wrong. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that the forces that want to destroy him are going to find something, no matter what. All right? And so a lot of these things, the Stormy Daniels thing, that real estate, civil case, this is BS. Nobody else would be hauled into court. On the grift, I have an interesting story on the No Spin News, my television broadcast. You get it on BillO'Reilly.com. We get all kinds of distributors on it. So in 2014, a guy from Kazakhstan, who you probably know, Carolla, because I know you're big over there with the podcast, gave Hunter Biden a $250,000 car. Now, I didn't even know a $250,000 car existed, okay? But he gave him this, and I think by the time the import taxes were paid and everything, it went down to $150,000. But it was this unbelievable car, which Hunter Biden took. Now, you tell me Joe Biden didn't know he had that car when he's living in Delaware, he's zipping around. I mean, and then after that, Hunter Biden gets 15 trips on Air Force Two after he's got the $150,000 car. So you think Dad might say, hey, where'd you get that car? I mean, what's going on? And all 15 trips, Hunter met with all kinds of shady people. And the vice president didn't know that? There was no discussion of why he's going to Ukraine and Romania and all these places. It just, you'd have to be a Hollywood scriptwriter not to believe it. They don't want to believe it in Hollywood. So no matter what you got, they're not going to believe it. But it's so obvious. So that's trending toward destroying President Biden. That's the trend. So it's a drip, 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 drip. And on the corrupt network news, you hear, oh, you don't have the evidence. No evidence against Joe. Okay, but investigations take a while. Russian collusion was what, 8 years that we were going through that thing? And then they go, oh, there's no evidence. So this one might turn out. Maybe Joe, I don't know. But to me, if it's my son, I kind of know a little bit what's happening. How about you, Carolla?
Well, I now feel like I know more about Hunter Biden than my actual son, just because of all of this. First things, I said, I think part of Joe's fault, part of the problem with Joe Biden is he speaks in these absolutes. You know, he goes, I've never spoken to my son ever about any of his business dealings, which makes you a bad dad, because a father should speak to his adult son about his business dealings. Why wouldn't you? Especially when you're in business in many of the countries that Joe Biden is going to. So it's an absurdity that he claimed he spoke to. You know, it's the problem with the absolutes is the senator gets accused of having an affair with a woman, and they go, I've never met that woman in my life. I've never been in the same room with her. And then 2 weeks later, we find a picture with you two at a party in the same room together. You should say, yeah, I've talked business about my son and no details, and he's done nothing illegal. But he doesn't do that. He goes all in. And that's usually how I know he's lying, or the senator being accused of the extramarital affair is lying when he says he's never met the woman. I think the question that I've had, and you're uniquely qualified to answer it, is Joe Biden will stop when his legacy media friends decide he needs to stop. And the question is are they going to make that decision for him?
Well, we've seen cracks on it. They're getting nervous because the approval rating for Joe Biden is about 38%, and 72% of Americans feel the country's headed in the wrong direction, which it is.
Right.
So Joe Biden doesn't have to run against Trump or any Republican. Joe Biden's running against a grocery store. That's what he's running against. He's running against a gas station. He's running against insurance premiums that come to the mail, and you go, what the deuce is this?
Right.
That's what Joe Biden's running against, okay? So the Democrats know that. They don't have anybody else, though. I'd love to have Michelle Obama. They would love that. All right, but Michelle's not campaigning. There's absolutely no indication she wants the job, but it's not impossible for her to show up at the convention in Chicago where she has a mansion, say, I want to be president, so give me the nomination, which they would do in a heartbeat. And Joe would be like LBJ, I got to resign. Okay. But at this point, Joe Biden does not know what he is saying. He simply doesn't know what he's saying. And all you got to do is look at the clips, and people tell him what to say, but he can't even get that right. Can't even get, here, Mr. President, say this. Can't get it right. Never comes out right. All right. And this is because of his age and his condition. And if you're going to vote for Joe Biden for 4 more years, you should move to Albania someplace, because you think it's chaotic now. Where do you see what it's going to be in 3 more years if Biden gets reelected?
Do you think, and I think a lot of people then realize that Kamala Harris is waiting in the wings, and she's the only politician with a lower job approval rating than Joe Biden, so nobody would want that. What if they said, and is this even possible? What if Joe Biden said, I'm running for a second term, but I'm going to make Joe Manchin my vice president? And that way, if something happened to me, you'd get a reasonable sort of leftist, Democrat in there.
It's not woke. You can't do that. The wokes will come after you.
You can't fire the woman of color.
Cancel culture people. Yeah, can't.
Not going to happen.
No. Kamala has a cloak of protection.
Right.
It's a cloak of protection. in the establishment, not with the folks. Folks
Right.
don't buy into all that crap, okay? But the Democratic establishment, untouchable.
What are your thoughts on Gavin Newsom? He keeps saying he's not running. Everyone keeps saying he is going to run. He's acting like he's going to run. Any predictions on our own Gavin Newsom of California?
I think he carries San Francisco, but that'd probably be it. Trump could beat Newsom. I mean, you live out there, Carolla, but you don't have any, I don't know if you have any idea how much loathing the state of California is engendering in the rest of the country. I mean, it's like, because every night they see on the news these people running wild in LA and San Francisco, and then crazy trans stuff coming out. The Attorney General of California suing the Chino School District because all the school district wants is the parents to be alerted if their kid is trying to trans at school. And the California government is saying, no, you don't have a right to know that.
Yeah.
This sinks in, all right, once you get west of Lake Tahoe.
Right.
And so Newsom can run around and go to the laundry when no one else could go out. He can do that. But once he gets out of California, believe me, he's not going to be Mr. Popular, no matter how much gel he has in his hair. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, the French Laundry, of course, famously, him and 26 of his closest friends in the middle of lockdown are not only enjoying a dinner, but enjoying a dinner that's like $1,200 a plate. I mean, really the most expensive place you can eat in America, which the optics had to be disastrous for him. What about you, Bill? You're so prolific. What about retirement? What about going fly fishing for 6 months in Montana? I mean, in terms of your wiring, you have something you want to say. And I have people say to me all the time, what are you doing? You do this, you do that, you do too much. And I'm like, it's not too much. It's what I do. It's what I'm compelled to do. Is that how you feel?
Yeah. Well, I did an interview. Tucker Carlson asked me to do an interview on X, Twitter, whatever that may be. Did you see that, Carolla? Did you see any of that?
I saw snippets of it. Okay.
So he asked me essentially the same question. And, I said to him, look, I work way too hard. There's no doubt about it. And particularly for my age, a lot of my friends are in the villages in Florida in little golf carts playing pickleball. Okay. Right. But then when I say, do I really want to be in a golf cart playing pickleball? The answer is kind of no. So we do work every day that matters. So BillO'Reilly.com is the most successful independent news agency on the planet. On the planet. And I've accomplished that in 6 years plus. And so now I have a responsibility. I got 60 people working for me. Got people depending on us because we do tell the truth. I don't care whether you like me or not, but we're never going to boot it. We're never going to spin it. We're never going to do any of that. You know that. You know me for a long time. I know. I'll just jump in and heap some praise on you if I can. I think there's a problem in accuracy versus sort of personality. Like a lot of people in Hollywood, they don't like Tucker Carlson. They don't like Bill O'Reilly. They don't like Ben Shapiro. And it's like, forget about whether you like them or not. Are they accurate? Is what they're saying accurate? And we should focus a little more on accuracy and a little less on, I don't want to have a beer with that guy. I'd much rather have a beer with Gavin Newsom or Barack Obama. But it's like, yeah, but I'd rather shoot for accuracy. Well, my staff, I took a bunch of people from Fox. I think it's the best. And they're younger people, by the way. They're not old geezers like me. But our mandate is we can't make any mistakes. And if we don't know, we tell the audience. I booted the McCarthy thing today because I didn't think that Getz and McCarthy would bring it to the floor. I thought they'd make a deal. They didn't. So McCarthy's out. But I said to my audience today, I said, look, I got it wrong. All right? And this is why I got it wrong. So it's not hard, Carolla. You do the same thing I do, but you do it in a different format and a different audience. I mean, you just tell people what you believe and then why you believe it. That's not hard. But once you get into corporate media, then you got to deal with agendas, and this one doesn't want to hear this, and they don't like this, and it's like, oh. So to answer your question, I'm going to do this through the election, which is 13 months away. That's for sure. Then I'm going to take a look at, we have radio, we have television, we got one more book that we have to deliver. And by the way, The Killing Series is the most successful nonfiction book series of all time on the planet, which I am very proud of, by the way, because all of them, and you've read some of them, will educate you but entertain you at the same time.
Yes.
We've melded that. We have melded that. So anyway, I don't know what the future will be. I'm trying to cause as much trouble as I can, which I've done since I'm 4 years old, and it's still working.
Well, you brought up Tucker Carlson. I had an interview with him a few weeks back, and he brought something up that sort of stuck with me, but I'm definitely curious what your head is on it, Bill, which is I was saying, well, are you thinking about starting your own entity like you've done, or maybe the Daily Wire or something like that? And he sort of lamented that the problem with conservative/Republican right-wing stuff is you can't get everyone into the same tent in terms of the personalities. And you take a subject like abortion, people on the right may be all over the road on it in terms of their agreements or disagreements. Some are much more moderate than others. Some are pro-lifers through and through. You take something like the vaccine, well, Ben Shapiro was very pro-vaccine, and Dan Bongino was against the vaccine, or others, and he said, if you're on the left, if you're on, if you go to work for CNN, you're all on the same page for every subject. And they all were, whether it's the vaccine or ivermectin or
right.
build a wall or thoughts about Trump or thoughts about Biden, or is a Hunter Biden laptop authenticated, or what about Russian collusion? Literally all sort of coincidentally and comically and suspiciously on the same page for every subject. Whereas the conservatives and the Republicans argue about everything because everyone is coming from a different position on many subjects, which I would argue makes them intellectually honest.
Well, that's true. Well, everything that Carlson told you, and I think you believe it too, it's true. And the reason is that the liberal nexus is basically three places. It's Washington, D.C., it's Manhattan, and it's Hollywood, L.A. And in order to function in those three cities socially, you got to be a liberal.
Right.
And their propaganda machine, way more sophisticated than the right-wing propaganda machine. And they are absolutely single-minded because they feel that if you are not a liberal or a progressive, then you are evil.
Right.
And you must be destroyed, which brings us back to Salem, Massachusetts, and killing the witches. So the conservatives don't like liberals, and I'm generalizing now. I don't have any problem myself. I got friends who are all over the place. But hardcore conservatives, I don't want to be hanging with Jeffrey Katzenberg, okay? No. But they're not, and I'm generalizing, they're not out to destroy your life.
Right.
But the liberal philosophy is if you're not noble like we are, then you're deplorable like Hillary Clinton said you were. And that's the difference. So there is a much more vibrant debate on the right than there is on the left. Every single Democrat in the House voted against McCarthy. I figured there'd be a few that said, hey, the guy's trying to do a good job. We don't have chaos. He settled things down. Not one. Because if they did vote against McCarthy, they'd be, for McCarthy, ostracized.
Right.
Boom.
What is your take?
Vaporized.
I keep saying this into the microphone that I don't understand why CNN and other outlets are playing so fast and loose with their brand and their reputation. Do you have thoughts about where they might be and why they would do this?
It's all my fault. So I know why they're doing it. So in 1996, this Fox News channel started. And Ted Turner came out, the head of CNN, and said, we'll squash them like a bug. Okay, so that's all he had to say. So anyway, I got a primetime show, The O'Reilly Factor, and then I built it into this unbelievable colossus of money. Billions and billions of dollars flowed in to the Fox News channel, because if you wanted to buy an advertisement on The O'Reilly Factor, you had to buy 5 others on other shows. Okay? So
other Fox shows, right.
Other Fox shows. You want to get on the Factor, you got to buy Fox and Friends, you got to buy Midday, whatever it may be. Now, the corporate media, NBC, CNBC, all right, Discovery, Warner, CNN, they saw this, and they saw their market share going down, all right, because it was divided. Liberals could watch NBC or CNN, but only conservatives had the Fox News channel. So we had an advantage in that. Now, I never played to the advantage ever. I'm not an ideological guy. I just stated my opinion. But then it got out of control for them. I remember Larry King. Remember Larry? Larry was the top-rated CNN guy. And after 2 years, I wiped him off the planet. Just wiped him out. And I told my staff that was going to happen. I said, we're going after Larry, because Larry kind of not really all there. He said, Larry. I said, we're going. All right. And we did. So once that happened, that Fox was dominant in the money realm, then the other companies said, we can do that too. So we're going to program exclusively for liberal audiences. And that's what they did. So they're on all the surveys show, no conservatives watch NBC, MSNBC, or CNN. None. When I was at Fox, we had a fairly healthy liberal audience. Now that's gone. Fox is like 95% conservative now, because they're all speaking to the choir. It's cheaper, it's easier, and you can still get paid pretty well.
Yeah, and it's also like In-N-Out Burger just sells burgers and fries. They don't sell tamales and pizzas. They sort of know who their audience is. So,
they know, right, what the folks want.
But is this a model for CNN in the future? Do you think this is going to go on?
Look, the problem with it all now is it's obsolete, Carolla, because people are getting their information from me on BillO'Reilly.com, from you and your podcast. There's a million different options now. So when I was at Fox, we used to do 1 million some nights, 25 to 54. 1 million people. If they do 200,000 now at Fox, and Fox is still number one because they have the best talent. If they do 200,000, they're like deliriously happy.
Right.
And the younger Americans under 55, it's obsolete. When was the last time you heard anybody say, hey, did you see what Lester Holt said tonight? When was the last time you heard that?
Well, nobody under 55, that's for sure. No, I just remember Kamala Harris having that we've been to the border, I haven't been to the border, we're going to the border conversation with Lester Holt. That's the only time these guys pop up is when they become a sort of fodder and a joke on somebody else's news feed. Let me give a plug out to the book, Bill. Killing the Witches, The Horror of Salem, Massachusetts. It's available wherever you find finer books. These are really... yes, Bill was right. They're full of information, but they're in very entertaining bite-sized morsels as well. You'll become an expert on whatever subject you're talking about, but you will be entertained, and everything is fastidiously researched as well, so you know you're getting the truth. Bill, always great to speak to you, my friend.
Thanks for having me in, Carolla. Continued success.
You as well, and we'll talk soon. All right, let's see. Marc Price, ijoke.com is where you go. Bill O'Reilly, of course, Killing the Witches, available as we speak. Irvine Improv, me coming up with Adam Ray and Brad Williams. That'll be October 11th. And then San Francisco Cobb's Comedy Club, October 13th and 14th. Go to adamcarolla.com for all the live shows. Until next time, Adam Carolla for Marc Price, Chris Maxpata, and Bill O'Reilly saying... Mahalo.